Imagine someone making $250,000 a year, checking their bank account on a Sunday night, nervous about making rent. That's not a hypothetical, that's a real pattern, with a name. High-income poverty. And here's the thing nobody wants to admit. Income alone does not create financial security. It never has. Because no matter how much money comes in, if your fixed costs and lifestyle grow to match it, you end up right back at zero. This video is about understanding how that happens, the exact mechanics of it, and what the people who actually build wealth do differently. We're taught, either explicitly or just by watching adults, that the goal is to earn more. Get the raise, get the promotion, land the six-figure job, and then, everything gets easier. But here's what actually happens for a huge number of people. They get the raise, and within 12 to 18 months, they have nothing to show for it. Not because they're irresponsible, not because they're bad at math, but because of how naturally, almost invisibly, spending scales with income. There's actually a name for this in behavioral economics: lifestyle inflation, or sometimes lifestyle creep. And the insidious thing about it is that none of the individual decisions feel wrong. You got a raise. Of course you move to a nicer apartment. You're earning more? Of course you get a better car. You work hard. Of course you take nicer vacations. Each decision, in isolation, makes complete sense. But the cumulative effect is that you've rebuilt your entire cost structure at a higher level, and now you need that higher income just to stay afloat. Here's where it gets structural. There's a meaningful difference between variable spending and fixed cost commitments. Variable spending, eating out, shopping, entertainment, can be dialed back relatively quickly if you need to. It's uncomfortable, but it's doable. Fixed cost commitments are different. These are obligations you've locked yourself into: a mortgage or rent, a car payment, private school tuition, a gym membership you signed a year contract for, a second home, a storage unit. Every time you upgrade your lifestyle and that upgrade becomes a recurring monthly obligation, you've raised your financial floor. You've raised the minimum amount of money you need just to not be in crisis. And this is exactly how high earners end up feeling broke. They're not spending recklessly. They're actually meeting every obligation they made when things felt comfortable. But those obligations compound. And the margin, the gap between what you earn and what you owe every month, gets thinner and thinner until it disappears. Here's a useful question to ask yourself. If my income dropped 30% tomorrow, how long before I'd be in serious trouble? For a lot of high earners, the honest answer is 2 or 3 months, sometimes less. Now, layer on top of all of this something that's harder to quantify, but maybe even more powerful: social comparison. When you move into a higher income bracket, your peer group shifts. Your coworkers, your neighbors, the people you see at the school your kid attends, they're all operating at a similar income level. And there's an unspoken pressure, not malicious, just human, to maintain the same visible standard of living. They drive that car. They take those trips. Their kitchen looks like that. And if you don't, even if that choice is completely rational, it can feel like you're falling behind. Social media makes this dramatically worse, because now you're not just comparing yourself to the people you actually know, you're comparing yourself to a curated highlight reel of everyone you've ever met, plus strangers who've built entire personal brands around looking wealthy. The result is that spending decisions get made on the basis of identity and belonging, not math. Which means no amount of income growth actually solves the problem, because the comparison set grows with you. Here's where we shift from diagnosis to insight. Because there's a real, well-documented difference between people who look wealthy and people who actually are wealthy. The research, most famously captured in The Millionaire Next Door, consistently finds that genuine wealth accumulators share a set of behaviors that often look unremarkable from the outside. First, they live below their visible means. Not dramatically, not austerely, but consistently. The car is a few years old. The house is nice, but not the nicest they could technically afford. The vacations happen, but not every quarter. Second, they prioritize savings rate over gross income. They understand that what matters isn't how much comes in, it's the percentage of what comes in that actually gets kept. A household earning $90,000 and saving 25% is building more real wealth than a household earning $200,000 and saving 5%. Third, they automate before they spend. Instead of spending first and saving what's left, which usually means saving nothing, they direct savings and investments automatically at the moment of deposit. What doesn't hit the checking account doesn't get spent. And fourth, they're indifferent to financial signaling. This is the hardest one culturally, but maybe the most important. They're genuinely not interested in using consumption to communicate status. The car is a tool. The house is a home. The clothes are clothes. None of this requires an unusually high income. It requires a different relationship with money, one where the goal is security and optionality, not appearance. Let's make this concrete. Here are the signs that your lifestyle may be outpacing your margin and that you might be closer to the high-income poverty trap than you realize. Sign 1. You have no meaningful cash cushion. If you have less than 2 to 3 months of true expenses and accessible savings, you're one unexpected event away from crisis. A job change, a medical bill, a car repair. Income level doesn't matter. The cushion does. Sign 2. Your savings only happen if there's something left. If you can't point to an automatic savings mechanism that runs regardless of how you feel about your spending that month, you're probably not actually saving. Sign 3. You feel anxious about your finances, despite a strong income. This is the most diagnostic signal. If you earn well and still feel financially fragile, the problem isn't your income. It's the gap between your income and your fixed cost structure. Sign 4. A raise or bonus gets absorbed within a year without any structural change. You make more, but nothing changes in terms of savings rate, margin, or security. That's the trap, operating in real time. Sign 5. You can't easily articulate where your money goes. If a significant portion of your spending is invisible to you, just gone month after month, that's worth examining. You can't change what you can't see. Here's the honest takeaway from all this. The solution isn't complicated, but it does require shifting what you're optimizing for. Most of us are unconsciously optimizing for consumption level, the standard of living visible to ourselves and others. The people who actually build wealth over time are optimizing for margin, the gap between income and obligations. Margin is what gives you options. Margin is what makes a job loss survivable instead of catastrophic. Margin is what lets you take a career risk or help someone in your family or retire before your body gives out. You don't have to live like a monk to have margin. You don't have to opt out of enjoyment. You just have to make sure that your lifestyle commitments never fully catch up to your income. The trap closes slowly. It closes one reasonable decision at a time. Which means it also opens slowly, one deliberate choice at a time. If you found this useful, subscribe. The next video goes even deeper on the specific mechanics of how to actually measure your financial margin and where the highest leverage changes tend to be.